Hello friends, today is June 1st and I have a few moments. I thought I would do a quick Q&A before classes start in a little while. I have just a couple questions here on the computer from YouTube, Facebook, etc. So hopefully these will help those out there at home that might have the same question that you've wanted to ask. Steve in Texas asks, my dojo closed because so many people quit. How is your school doing with Corona? Will you guys close? Are you open yet? Steve, that's a great question. We closed in March due to the virus for, I forget how long, maybe six weeks or more, something like that. And then we started to do online classes, which we're still doing on Zoom. We are doing online classes at least 3 or 4 nights a week. We just started back our physical classes about a week and a half, almost 2 weeks ago, and we have 3 more today. So what we're doing is we don't have our full schedule going right now because we want space in between classes, and we have to change how we're running things here to keep social distancing for the next couple of months. People have to wear face coverings, etc. So we have started physical classes again, and everyone's loving them. We were also doing outdoor classes a lot because outdoors is fresh air, great for you, vitamin D, and people were just dying to get out of their house. They were really getting depressed. So we're open, we're doing well, we will survive. I'm sorry that, Steve, that your dojo closed. I've heard from so many friends across the country and the U.S. that have full-time schools where their dojos have just shut down. Even getting behind 1 month on rent is enough to close a lot of small businesses out there. Small businesses were hammered so hard. Myself being a small business owner, I know it really hard. This whole thing has been very difficult. I am appreciative of what the government has done as far as offering PPP loans, etc. Of course, it's never quite enough, but because sadly, when we went to apply for our first loan, that money was gone within 3 days because it went to the large businesses. They were bailed out before the small guy. And so many of my friends, they've worked so hard to build their dojos over the years, or even a training club. It doesn't have to be an official full-time school like we have. It might just be a training club, but where they were renting a space and they can't afford it. And of course the landlord is not going to work with you most of the time. They're just going to say, no, you pay or you get out. So the system kind of crumbles around itself, but we will survive. Our student base is very loyal. And I've said this before, the first thing to go in a pandemic is loyalty. And I'm sure Steve and many of you out there watching are frustrated because so many of your students have quit. Because if they can't afford the training, which is considered a luxury, that's very understandable. So if they lost their job, of course they have to quit their gym or their local Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu school or their Budo school, whatever it might be. They have to leave because they need that couple $100s a month or whatever your tuition is to put food on the table for your family. Very understandable. My students, we've been established for 15 years. We have a large student base, way bigger than other schools. Even though our school is small, we have well over 100 and something students, whereas other schools you might only have 10 or 20. And my friends that I've talked to, where their schools have closed, they only had 20 or 30 students, and that wasn't enough to sustain the bills that they had if, say, 15 or 20 quit. So we're very fortunate here, and we will survive, we will thrive, but it's going to have to rebuild. I was talking to one of my teachers, Arno Kuzerg, who lives in Paris, and everyone has to rebuild their school. As most of the small businesses right around us are doing here in Ohio. It's really difficult. It's really probably one of our biggest life's challenges will be this virus and how we get through it. But we will get through it. That's the whole idea of being quote unquote a warrior, is you don't quit. You continue to go as good as you can. And Fortunately, a lot of my friends who lost their schools, they're not giving up. They're going to regroup and build again and find a new space to train and continue their lineage, which is our job, what we should be doing. You know, you can get knocked down 49 times, but you get back up 50. And that's what life is about. Life is difficult. It's full of struggles and stress. And the training that we all do as brothers and sisters of martial arts sets us up and prepares us for things like these and times like these, and that's what keeps us going, is our training. So Steve, best of luck to you in Texas, wherever you are. I hope that you find a new school, or please continue to support your teacher, and maybe he or she you didn't mention, but hopefully they will find a new space and you'll be able to continue your training. This is a knockdown, and I'm sure, Steve, that you and your school will get back up again. Have you done any online classes? Can you get rank virtually? Yes, we've done a lot of online classes, and we're so appreciative of the technology. When I started in 1980, we had nothing, well, the most rudimentary computer you can imagine, no internet, no DVDs, no videos, no nothing. So all you had to go by was books, if you could find it in your local store, or perhaps a magazine we found, but we're very appreciative of the online Zoom training, and it's been very successful. We've had classes with 30, 40 people participating. That's fantastic. The fact that people are willing to go into their basement at home and hook up their computer and watch and work and sweat and train with us at home has been very, very good, and it has allowed the school to continue to move forward. But it's not sustainable, in my opinion, as a full-time teacher of 30 plus years. You cannot learn martial arts virtually. You can learn it for a while, but it is impossible to learn a physical art where someone is attacking you, putting stress on you, grappling you, punching you, hitting you with a weapon, coming at you with a knife. How can you learn that through a screen? This is not a video game. So in my opinion, it is not sustainable long-term online classes, and I know schools that have done online things in the past and they have failed, because first of all, when you're working at home, it's very easy to be distracted. We all are, so to do it long term is nearly impossible. Almost everybody quits after a while, but it is a very good temporary thing to do, and it keeps us all active and moving. We are still doing online classes. Every class that we have physically in the dojo, we are now setting up a camera so that people at home can watch and participate and earn class credit. Of course, you have to have your camera on. We've had a couple people turn their camera off, and we don't want them not training. You can't get credit if you're not physically doing what we're doing. You can't just sit there and be eating a cheeseburger and saying, oh, I'm doing my push-ups or my kamae or my technique or whatever it is. You have to be legitimately training. Can you earn rank through online? No, not really. However, I'm being a bit more lenient with that, meaning if you have over the past month been one of our students who has really been diligent in participating, working your butt off for that hour class, of course you're going to get some credit toward your next rank because you didn't quit and you're trying your best. And we will rearrange the testing process where you come back and you'll do a test privately, or if you're afraid to come to the dojo right now, we can do it outside. You know, there's many ways of doing a test. You will continue to test, but it'll be a different type of test temporarily because you haven't had a partner to work with. So a lot of people who are lone wolf trainers at home don't have an uke to work with, so we'll appoint you one, or we'll do a couple of lessons where you can come in and earn your test that way. But you'll still have to know everything and practice and show us the technique, make sure that you know it. But the fact that we can even train online is such a huge thing to keep schools alive in modernity. I'm so appreciative of Zoom and all these free services that can help the small business people out there survive. Let's see. Do you have any lessons that I can attend online? Jackson in Florida asks. Jackson, the lessons that we offer online are not for people watching this on YouTube. They're just for students who are active at my dojo. The reason being, we have a certain curriculum, we have a book, we have a curriculum book that I wrote that you work with, and the techniques for each month are in here, and all of the strikes and kicks that we do, ukemi rolling, weapons charts, historical charts, all of the stuff we go through in class. And so for people watching, they would be completely lost. It might be entertaining, but you can't copy the movements we're doing because you have to have already been in the school learning this stuff. And I'm sad to say that some of you watching who are very passionate, because I get emails from you all the time, from people all over the world saying, gosh, I wish I could train with you guys at your dojo, but it's not possible right now. Our classes are for in-house students right now only. And I'm going to mention something in a few minutes that will help those of you out there that really want to learn. But for right now, you can't attend online, just the people that are in our dojo. What weapons do you teach at your dojo? Do you consider them a waste of time or outdated? Absolutely not. Weapons training is vital to martial arts. Even though we don't carry spears and swords, we use them. We learn how to use them. There are only certain types of, so many types of weapons. So you have polearm type of weapons, you have projectiles, you have bladed weapons, you have blunt weapons. So we learn how to use all of the classifications of weapons. That is part of our martial arts, and that is why we are surviving as a school, because we didn't limit ourselves to one thing. A couple of my BJJ friends have lost their schools because they only did Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, which is grappling on the ground, and people don't want to grapple right now. They're afraid of the corona still. So they are not going to go train. And how can you grapple at home if you don't have a partner? It's extremely difficult. Even karate. But we can use weapons for the next couple of months and have no contact whatsoever. Matter of fact, we've been doing spear and naginata and sword, different types of swords outside. And we've been training a lot of target work outdoors where we can maintain 5, 10, even 15 feet apart distance and still train with reality of two people on a battlefield. We will do grappling again, and we will do touch training again, but not for a while, not until we get the okay. But because we've diversified, we have thousands of hours of classes of non-touch training that we can do. Don't ever let anyone tell you that weapons training is not valid. It is. When you learn weapons, you learn awesome timing and awesome distancing. You learn how to use a pen and defend yourself if you needed to in a fight. You learn how to use a remote control to defend yourself. You learn how to use a garden shovel or a tire chain, whatever it is, a necktie, a towel, your cell phone, the computer monitor, anything in sight is a weapon. And if you want to learn about true survival, true Budo, you need to know what's in your environment and how to use it to protect you and your family. You don't want to be someone who gets thrown a knife and catches it and has no clue how to use it. And there are a lot of internet warriors out there that pretend to know, but if they haven't trained, they'll be completely lost in a real fight. So weapons training, in my opinion, is unbelievably important, and it should not be overlooked. And it keeps the history of the martial art alive. The fact that we train with spear and sword really improves our mind. It's not always about, is it useful? It's about, what can I do with my body to find the strategy with these two weapons to win? And it's about mental training. How can I keep focused and keep as sharp as a sword or a yari? And how to use my space, in space and time, to move through life and be happy and content. Weapons training is hugely important in my opinion. Now, this person wrote Atachi, which is a long sword that they use in the Sengoku period, is an earlier model katana worn edge down from the belt for attacking from a horse. Carlos Sanchez wrote that. what he's referring to is a video we did where we're talking about swords. Now, what happens when we upload videos is people at home want to participate, and if they don't train actively or they don't have a school, all they can really do is comment on the video, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's a good thing. Or they hit the like or dislike, whatever. That's their way of saying, I'm part of this, part of the conversation, part of the technique that's being shown. Always remember, you guys out there, that we're only showing one small detail of one kata in one particular snapshot in time. So if I don't cover everything with a weapons video, it's not that we don't practice that, it's that we didn't have time in that class to cover it. A lot of people want to put in their 2 cents about something that wasn't shown in the video, but we obviously know the answer to those things. We just didn't have time to film it. It's impossible. You really have to take each video that is produced and uploaded on its own merit. You can't assume the things going on around it. We have hundreds of hours of training that you don't see. You only see about 0.1% of what we do. Not 1%, 0.1%. Anything on YouTube, over 300 videos that are up there now, are just 0.1% of what we do here at the dojo. You're never going to see the stuff that we do in class, because a lot of it we will not film, or the students don't want to be filmed in class, so we're not going to stick a camera in their face if they don't want to be on film. You're only going to see a small percentage of what we do, and that's by design. Let's see, Dion Alec Steichen, I don't know if I pronounced that right, was talking about the knife self-defense video that we did. And he was talking about how they use Sharpies in their knife class at their dojo, and they were using Sharpies like a knife and cutting each other to see how you were marked up at the end and how impossible it was to defend against a knife. That's a really good drill. We do that. We have we trained for years with chalk knives, which is a fake knife that has chalk on it, and you put chalk and you go full speed at each other and you try to cut each other, and then you'd have like 30-second rounds, and you'd stop and you'd see who had the most marks on their black uniform from the knife, stab marks, slashes, and it really put you in a reality state that it is nearly impossible to defend against a knife. It's such a quick and sharp little weapon, so dexterous, so nimble, that any of these classical techniques that we were learning, we found were crap and junk. They just wouldn't work unless the guy was completely drunk or did one slash and stopped. But a real good knife fighter doesn't do that. He or she will move very fast. So my obvious advice to those out there is to run from a knife if you can. If you're being cornered, you better defend yourself and take control of that hand and that weapon and that arm, and hope that you've been training a lot in your dojo, because no training's guaranteed death. Some training, no matter what the martial art, is better than none. So the stuff that I see on the internet with knife defenses is cringeworthy most of the time, but it's certainly better than nothing. Certainly better than no training at all. Keyboard warriors are the first to die in battle. But we still have knife techniques that we practice, and they are, in my opinion, fairly reliable, but no technique is perfect. We're always evolving our training here. That's why I left other organizations, because I saw some of the stuff they were teaching, and they had the sunk cost fallacy, and they thought that because their teacher taught them, it must be reliable. Well, no, if you get a couple of guys, a couple of friends with some knives, and you spar with each other full speed, you realize that a lot of the classical martial arts just don't hold up to that. Therefore, you need to adapt your style and put it in the 21st century to whatever weapons and country that you live in. What is your culture? That will dictate how you change your curriculum, and that's why our curriculum books, we're updating them constantly. I have notes in here. See these yellow notes? These are for when we do the next revision. Our techniques that are each month constantly evolve, because me and my black belts go over them and we fight with them in class. We're like, that doesn't work, that's junk, let's get rid of that. What is more beneficial to the short-term student? So we're always evolving, And I'm hoping the dojos out there all also evolve with your training groups respectively. Smooth ASF wrote, at the 28:10 mark of this particular video, you're wrong, you commit seppuku, which is ritual suicide with a tanto. And then Aiki Arts 101 fights back, no, actually wakizashi were commonly used to commit suicide as well. Now these guys are arguing through the comments section. You guys know that how YouTube comments can be. People fight with each other constantly, and again, I understand it because they want to make their mark. They want to participate in the video. They want to show you what they know. Of course, everyone's free to comment. I don't comment on videos because I think it's a waste of time. My comment on whatever video I watch is not going to change the person's mind, and I'm not going to comment just to piss somebody off and show how good I am versus what they're showing. Anybody that puts content on YouTube is pretty brave because you're going to have the brunt of society. Right now someone's hitting down like on this video that they're watching for whatever reason. They don't like my face or my voice, or they don't like our teachings. That's their prerogative. They can do that all they want. And then there are always going to be people that like it because they see something that they connect with. But why bother fighting in the comments section? How does it help? It doesn't. It doesn't. If you're not physically at a dojo and physically training, your comments don't mean anything to me. As a professional martial artist, someone who's been doing it for 40 years, some guy that's 18 years old commenting on what I should have done better, I don't listen to that. What I do listen to is colleagues, people that have their own schools full-time, my peers that are 40, 50, 60, 70 that have been doing it forever, that have actually been in competitions and tournaments and fought and tapped each other out on the ground. I'm not going to listen to people that are have no real life experience. So you can fight in the comments section, and I don't respond to comments because it's pointless. I have mods that get rid of people that are toxic and things like that, and I don't respond to comments. I don't have the time usually. I'm too busy running a school. But if someone is kind and they write me through an email, I'll try to respond. But go to town in the comments. That's what it's there for. But again, your comments, anyone's comments, my own, anybody's, it's not really going to change the video itself. I don't know too many people that are going to take down the video because of a comment they got. And why bother fighting so much? It just really doesn't do a lot of good. It just stresses people out. If you're going and reading through the comments section and you see a comment that you believe is wrong, sure, you can pipe in and type it and fight with this person and go back and forth for 3 days and call each other names, and God, what a waste of time. What a waste of time. I would rather be on the mat training than sitting there exercising my fingers to vomit out my opinion because I think I'm right. It's all ego-based. It's our ego trying to fight into the space, and to me that's just a waste of precious time in our life. But that's just my opinion. Prisha asks, how do you keep from getting unhappy and depressed with all that is happening in the world? Prisha, there's no easy answer to this. Everybody has their own method of dealing with life. We know, first of all, what I do is I always maintain the perspective of how the staggering odds of me being alive and you being alive watching this are. And when you really study that, it's like studying cosmology. It makes you feel really appreciative of what's there. Trillions and trillions of people could have been where I am right now. Trillions. Literally. So I am on this earth for 50, 60, 70 years, whatever it might be. How dare I complain when I know how many people could have been here? This is my mindset. And when I do that, when I think about how precious life is, I really get happy. I'm like, wow, the fact that I have sunlight and fresh air and these people that I can interact with and all of these wonderful pleasures of life, they really outweigh the suffering in life. And yes, life is full of suffering, so we better damn well know how to deal with it. And people deal with it in different ways. For me personally, meditation has helped me because of what I've learned. Meditation has kept me balanced. Music for me is very important. When I leave here at 8 or 9 o'clock at night after teaching all day, I go home and I head into the studio and I create songs. I play guitar, I sing, I play bass, I play drums, I play keyboards, piano, you name it, tambourine. That relaxes me and it keeps me balanced. And then I wake up in the morning after I've recorded, and then I listen to what I created. Creation is part of it. And I either like it or I don't like it, so I'll delete it and start fresh, or I'll keep it and continue to build. Appreciating family, those that I love in my life, just knowing that I have loved ones who love me and I love them. The art, and I call it an art of giving, the art of serving other people, having purpose. My purpose as a teacher, and having hundreds of students come through our door, and the fact that they're coming to me for something and I can help them with what I've learned, and we can learn together and we can laugh at our mistakes, and I can show them my vulnerability and how I'm just a guy off the street, and we can make mistakes together and learn and grow and laugh. Laughter. Gosh, how important is comedy to keep ourselves sane? How important is nature and getting out into the grass and walking in the woods? How important is exercise and movement? How important is education and reading books and watching documentaries on YouTube or whatever that might be? How important are animals and pets in our life? How important is the simple pleasure of cooking, or the simple pleasure of enjoying your house after you've just cleaned it? The simple pleasure of putting on a new fresh t-shirt that you saved up your money to earn. The simple pleasure of finding and maintaining a job, and knowing that every job out there serves the world. Every job. No job is mundane. Every job is real and important. Just being grateful for having these few years keeps me very happy. And I know so many people out there who are fixated on the news, and I realize what's happening in the world, and I'm very astute to it, but I don't sit and watch the news because it is depressing. It is a fear-based living, and I don't want that in my life. I have fallen into it at certain times, as we all do, certain ages. If you lose your job and you don't have money to pay the bills, I have no answers for you. There's no magic cure through that. You just have to kind of get up in the morning and keep going. Most of us, 99% of us, will never be rich, will never have money, but is happiness about money? To a point, yes, because we need money to pay our bills. We need it, but it is not, after a certain amount, the excess of money is not going to make us any more satisfied in life. What I do is once in a while I sit around my house and I look at a room and I just look at all the stuff that's collecting dust, and I realize how important it once was for me to have possessed that. Now it just sits on a shelf and collects dust. It has no meaning anymore. But why was it so important a couple of years ago to have that next thing, whatever it might be? So I'm constantly looking at my thought process. Why am I thinking this? Why am I thinking this thought versus that thought? Constantly thinking that. And I think that's training. When you're on the mat physically training and someone's punching you, you don't have time to go into the past or the future. You're stuck in the moment. That to me is the beauty of life, is how many things can I do in my life that keep me concentrated in the moment? Because if I go into the past, you get depressed. You think of what could have been and what should have been, and you have regrets, and you think, oh, I should have said this and I should have done that. Whereas the past is done, it's over with, it's gone. And all we can really do is learn from it and gain wisdom from it. And then where's the rest of our thought? It's in the future, things that might happen, and that's fear, future events appearing real. I get fearful because I don't know what's going to happen. I can't process the future. Therefore, I fill it in with all kinds of crap and stories and negative things from my mind. We're so good at deluding ourselves and deceiving ourselves into what we think the future will be. And almost always, it's way better than we thought. It's way more positive. The things that we thought were going to go wrong don't go wrong, and they work out. But we don't seem to learn from that, and then we continue that cycle of fear. My opinion is try to stay in the moment as best as possible. Try to stay in the moment. But there's no magic elixir to take to make us happier. I can't make you guys happier. You can't make me happier. But realizing how short life is keeps me very, very content. Very content. Okay, a couple more things. We have, people have been asking us, do you have your instructional DVDs online? The answer is yes, we do now. Through our website, thedojoinc.com, you can now download a lot of our DVDs that we have. DVDs on our curriculum, our first level, our second level. We haven't recorded the third level yet. DVDs on swordsmanship, kenjutsu, the old style, not modern Edo period, but the old battlefield samurai kenjutsu. We have how to use a sword, naginata video on the pole arms. We have a video on hanbo, the short stick. What else? We have a DVD or video on the meditation ones haven't gone up yet. We have, gosh, there's a lot. There's DVDs on throwing, not judo throws, but balance taking for those of you out there that like that. What else? Gosh. Tap outs and finishes, how to finish someone when you take them to the ground so that you're not lost. So if you can't run away, how do you finish them out? Gun disarms, those of you who like pistols and things like that. How do I disarm a pistol that's in my face? Forget about distance. There are more. I'm missing. But if you go to our website, you can find on the top where it says students, I think it says downloadable. Now these are big files. These are not little dinky MPEGs. These are MP4s that might be 6, 8, even 10 gigs in some cases. Because I don't like all of the videos of martial arts that I've downloaded over the years have been terrible quality, like 360p. Now they're up to 480p a lot. That's still not great quality, but it's better. I wanted our DVDs and videos to be 7p minimum. So they're large files, so don't expect little files. But those of you who are younger, who are very familiar with computers, those aren't very big to you. You guys download 50 gig Call of Duty updates left and right and Battlefield and stuff. So you'll be used to a 8 or 10 gigabyte file because I wanted the quality of our videos to be better than the competition. I wanted ours to be cleaner looking and smooth so that if you watch it on a 1080p it looks pretty good. I can't tell you how many DVDs I have that are all pixelated and lines through them because they didn't want to spend the time and money to update to have a better quality. So I wanted our dojo videos to be better quality, and they are, in my opinion. You can upload them if you want, download them if you want, okay? I'm not trying to sell anything to you, but a lot of people asked, so there it is. Until next time, my friends, I hope that all of you out there watching are enjoying your life as best you can. I hope you're picking up the pieces where you have to. I hope that you and your family are maintaining health, and that if you caught the virus, that you are improving, or with whatever sickness or injury that you might have, that you're trying your best, as I do, to just focus on the positive in life and let go of things that are no longer necessary in our life. Appreciating each hour and each day, wherever you live. I wish you and your family and your martial art friends and dojo the best. I'll see you soon. Thank you for watching.